Welcome to the Pennsylvania Historical Markers series. Thanks, everyone. Hey everybody, we're in Hershey, Pennsylvania today. We're at the Pennsylvania Historic Marker for Hershey right here in front of the office facilities now. Here is 19 East, but this used to be part of like the plant. The main plant was down that way, which is no longer here. But Hershey is a model industrial town and noted tourism destination established in 1903 and named for its founder, Milton S. Hershey, 1857 to 1945. Hershey's companies developed housing, recreation, education, and cultural facilities, financial institutions, public utilities, a transit system, and the world's largest chocolate factory that opened in June 1905. So this is here. This is ground zero for the factory. It was the largest chocolate factory in the world back when he built it after he had sold the Lancaster Caramel Company. And we'll talk a little bit more here in a minute about it and go from there. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody. So we are here today in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I did earlier, like maybe a week ago, the Pennsylvania Historic Marker for Hershey, the town. So I want to do this video a little different. Normally with the Pennsylvania Historic Markers, I just sort of go in, concentrate on the historic marker itself, and then may do a little bit of audio work or something else, something pretty simple. But today I wanted to do something that's a little different. We're here, right behind me are the iconic smokestacks for the old Hershey Factory, and right over here is where the Hershey Factory used to be. Now, there is a building that's still there, and part of that is the factory. They had a couple, I think it's called Kissables line, which was basically like miniature Hershey Kisses, sort of their competition to the M&Ms, if you will, on second and third floor there. But and then the old stone building, they retained all of that, and that's actually I guess the original offices and that type of stuff. But those yellow things over there are the storage towers excuse me, where they used to keep like the cocoa beans and things like that. But those are the towers. So this is a little different. Actually, way in the back there, you can actually see Hotel Hershey, which is one of those buildings we'll talk about. I'll actually throw some pictures up because we're not going to actually go there. And you can see over there is the iconic Kissing Tower, but at Hershey Park. But we're going to actually drive through the town, so it's going to be a little bit different, where we actually do a little bit of Country Roads Take Me Home, where it's a driving video. I'm also going to stop at some of the iconic buildings that Hershey built during the Great Depression, like the Hershey Community Building. We'll maybe walk past the factory, the stone part, so you can get a closer look at that. We'll also show you some of the cool things. If you come here, the streets are called like Chocolate Avenue, Cocoa Avenue, Ariba Avenue. So a number of the streets are named after cocoa beans, because chocolate's what made this town. And you also see the street lamps, which I'll show you then when we go on the main street, are Hershey Kisses, the actual lamps themselves. Like, you have some of them that are like they actually have the chocolate kiss, and just that is the street lamp. And then some of the other ones are the ones that still have the wrapper and then have the Hershey paper on there. So this one's gonna be a little different. I'll actually also at times I'll throw up some pictures like of the Hershey Hotel or Hotel Hershey, because we're not actually going to go up there because that's sort of difficult to do. But we're going to talk about the town. We're actually going to drive through, because this is one of those model industrial towns from the new industrialists, because the old industrial towns, people didn't get treated well. It was pretty shoddy craftsmanship, whereas here were some beautiful, really beautiful homes that Hershey wanted specifically his town to be a place where people wanted to live, where they wanted to come to work, where it had culture. It had a part for relaxation for his workers, So Hershey had a completely different mindset, because you look at the old industrialists like Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan. They were pretty renowned for abusing workers and abusing the country in general. And there's, you know, Carnegie and Rockefeller in particular later in life became great philanthropists. A little too late in my opinion, and that in some ways was a competition to see who could give away more money, which, you know, when you had all that money, it could have did people a lot of good. You also could have, instead of competing with one another for a ton of money to see who would get the most, maybe take care of your workers better so people didn't die and things of that nature. Morgan, even, you know, wasn't known for that necessarily, but he did save the country a couple times. So these guys were sort of contrasts in character in certain ways, and in a lot of ways, then first industrialists, our country wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for them. And once again, in no way am I condoning their actions, because they abused people horribly to get to that point, and it was done for themselves mostly. But there also was an aspect of a lot of our infrastructure was put together by these guys, so we improved by leaps and bounds, which wouldn't have happened otherwise without these guys. But it really, at the end of the day, was done on the backs of the American worker, and they were not properly recompensed for their efforts and for the abuses that were done upon them. Now, guys like Henry Ford, Wrigley, Milton Hershey, they had a different viewpoint. And Milton Hershey especially, he had an idea. This was originally called the town of Derry, and it was less of a town and more of a township, if you will. So it was a little different structure. But Hershey wanted to see something completely different. He wanted to see the homes be beautiful, a lot of arts and crafts homes here. We're going to go through the main town so you can see some of these old homes. A lot of really vibrant communities, a lot of Italian neighborhoods, immigrant neighborhoods that people, they got, for the most part, got treated pretty well. And that these guys were not without their faults and their eccentricities. But for the most part, what Milton Hershey did and the guys that were like him was really extraordinary. And he changed a lot of people's lives. So we're going to explore that, look at this a little bit more in this film. And like I said, it's going to be different from most of the historical marker videos that I do, just because, you know, I'm in the process of doing this 3-parter on Milton Hershey, and I want to do it right. So we want to do all that kind of stuff and do it right, and it's just going to take some time. But I wanted to do this video specifically because this is a pretty unique historical marker, because you can actually physically go into town and just see a lot of the cool aspects and the things that he did, especially during the Great Depression. He didn't lay people off. He actually, like that Hotel Hershey that you see back over my right shoulder, you'll see it right there. It's back in there, if you can see it or not, I'm not sure. But anyways, that was one of the building projects. We'll visit the Hershey Community Building and the Hershey Theater. Those were built specifically, and there were a lot of other projects that he did as well that were specifically for that. And then, of course, you have the Milton Hershey School. You have the Milton Hershey Hospital, which is run by Penn State. That's there because of him. So there's so much in this town that we've all benefited off of. I mean, Milton Hershey, that's where I got my surgery and everything happened for me. I couldn't have been treated any bit better. The nurses, you know, and that's directly because of Milton Hershey. So, you know, I worked here for 12 years. This is probably the best job I would say I ever had. So with that, we're going to go to over the Hershey Community Building. We're going to park over there, and then we're going to walk around that building and then get you a little bit of a view, as much as we can, of the stone structure that is the Hershey Company's, some of their offices down here at 19 East Chocolate. So thanks, everybody. All right, we are here at Hershey Community Building. This is the Hershey Theater, here with the marquee, and all the way going down that direction. That is all the Hershey Theater. This is one of those buildings that was built back in the 30s by Milton Hershey. Get a close-up of some of these cool heads. Like, this is some cool architecture on this. It's awesome. And inside it's like a Greek revival. very, very cool architectural style. But we will, I'll get some pictures I'll throw up then. I'm not sure I have it the lowest. But this entire building, like this part of the building, this was actually for the community. Like you had the theater that was right here and down that way. But the rest of it had like a library. There's also a small theater down here on the end. And this is one of the buildings I worked in. It was the 14 East marketing building for the Hershey Company for years. Now all that's been moved on, but they had a fitness center in here, a library. This also has a really, really cool inside, especially in the lobby in the front. See if I can find some pictures of that and throw them up as well, just so you guys can see what it actually looked like and how cool it was. And it's just a really beautiful, beautiful building. Like I said, I worked in here for 12 years. But the theater, the small theater, or they called the miniature theater, was on this side, had a balcony and everything. And I guess that was more for community type activities. But just, you know, once again, you can see the architecture. It's just a beautiful building. But this is one of the buildings at Milton Hershey, during the Great Depression, to have more work for people. He wound up paying to get this built along with Hotel Hershey, and there were several other community projects as well that he got done. And so we're going to go around to the front of the building and go from there. I want a quick film to the Old Hershey School. It now houses a bunch of different businesses. I do apologize, the wind here is nuts. But anyways, we will film the town like I had said. There's a lot of cool buildings here, and like I said, this was his model industrial town. And over there you can see one of the buildings there. That building there houses some restaurants. That is actually, they call it the Poser building, but it had, I guess, the Hershey, I think it was like a Hershey department store was in there. But it's sort of a cool note, from this building, that was probably one of the buildings as well that got built by Hershey. There's actually an underground tunnel, which is closed off from what I'm aware, from this building here over to there, and that was sort of over to the 19 East Chocolate Factory. It's just sort of something they did in preparing for war and stuff like that, because one of the concerns is they knew, you know, World War II was most likely coming, and they had it and they operated it sort of like a bomb shelter as well. So it's pretty cool stuff about that. And yeah, this is an awesome building. It was a pleasure to work here for 12 years and just get to see the architecture, the marble stairs. It's just a really ornate, beautiful building. So thanks everybody. Alright, so we're here in downtown Hershey. You'll see the furthest building there. That's actually the new Hershey Museum, which has been here for probably 10 to 15 years, but that's called the Hershey Story. That's a pretty cool place to stop if you come here in Hershey. A lot of really neat historical artifacts. As I talked about before, that's the Poser building. You can see these chocolate street lamps. Kissing Tower there at Hershey Park. That's the old, I believe, First National Bank. Really beautiful, beautiful building. There were a number of other buildings. This used to be the marketing building, or not the marketing building, but the merchandising building. It's called 1 East. Now it's, I guess, 11 East. Yeah, I believe 11 East. And there used to be like a hotel or something here. And I'll try to get some of the old pictures, because there used to be another hotel or something over here. There's a lot of old buildings that used to be in here, and a lot of them got torn down. A lot of old homes where they had 2 parking garages and stuff like that. The old post office is still in existence, but the post office isn't there anymore, I don't believe. But the main street, like Cocoa Avenue, is over there. It used to go right along here, because there used to be a little mall thing that was in here where they had a pizza shop and a bank and stuff like that. But over there from the other side, we were on the other side of the building. That's the old factory. That's where the offices are housed. But some of it is actually factory, but they repurposed it for offices. Pretty neat place. They actually added a bunch of windows, which I don't know if those things there used to be windows there at one point and they covered them up, but they put them back in if they hadn't been. But there's the really big ones that are like the Art Deco, because a lot of the architecture inside that building, because I worked there for 12 years, it was very Art Deco-ish. But yeah, you can see the street lamps there. There's the ones that are like the wrapped Hershey Kisses, and across the street, or this one right here, is like the unwrapped Hershey Kisses. So it's a really neat place. I always found coming over here, because you used to go in the building there at the front of the building. This wing here in the back is where the theater is, the miniature theater. This is where they used to have their corporate the Hershey board meetings once or twice a year, and we used to have to provide candy for that and take care of that, but it wasn't very much used. But the upstairs were really, it was just beautiful, that top floor. And then they had like let me try to get that closed in. Some of the architecture there is really, really neat, whether you can see it or not. Some figures sort of leaning over, whether they're angels or not. So they're probably from Greek mythology. But they used to have conference rooms on either one of those wings. That one wasn't real impressive, but this one was really neat. And it had this cool sort of spiral staircase that led up to it, like a metal spiral staircase, and this always was neat. We used to clean it up in spring because it got gross, and there's some grossness in there right now, but it was a cool fountain there. But this was the Hershey Community Building. This was built specifically by Milton Hershey for the community. Like I said, library. I'll have to look up some of the other stuff that was here, but it had pretty much everything the community would need. And like I said, just an extraordinarily amazing building. Like the architecture is just phenomenal, but unfortunately it sits empty now from what I'm aware, because Hershey, I believe, sold it. But it was just such a neat building. I'm gonna go over and show you a little bit. Down there's the historic marker for Hershey, but really beautiful building. You can see just the tippy tops of the smokestacks over there. I've always enjoyed working there. And we'll go over and we'll see the back side of the community theater. It's a cool place to go to see cool shows, because it's just such a beautiful and ornate building. And there you can see the back side. Once again, you see up at the tippy top above those windows, they have like it's almost like the head of Zeus or something like that. So pretty neat stuff. And they have these huge, like the doorways are like, I don't know if it's whatever it is. I don't think it's bronze. Probably brass. These brass doorways were always just so impressive to me, because all the doors are just big and heavy. Just neat structure. A lot of good memories. Right, close up here, and you can see like these lion heads up above the windows. There was almost like a Greek mythology type head over the theater. It's pretty neat stuff. Alright, so this is a building. I thought I had been filming earlier, and I wasn't. This is the old Hershey High School. Not really sure if Milton Hershey had anything to do with it, but probably did. I would assume this building was probably built in probably the 19-teens. They actually housed the Hershey Archives, which is sort of their historical society for the company. Has all the photos and paperwork and stuff like that from its history. But it's a beautiful building, as you can see. Now it houses a bunch of different businesses, and like I said, the Hershey Archives on the western side. But yeah, this is part of Hershey. So next we're gonna drive around the town and show you some of the sights. Alright, so we're gonna make a left here on Cocoa Avenue off of Caracas. We just left the Hershey Theater. I'll give you a chance to see some of the names, like Granada Avenue. Beautiful church. And one of these we'll wind up turning down. And then just sort of like, this is where the Hershey Factory workers used to live. There's Ariba Avenue. And all these homes, these were built by the workers, for the workers. And there's Maple Avenue. We'll make a right here. And you know, look at some of these like cool houses. But a lot of these were built, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and people made enough money with their job that they were able to make nice homes and live in nice parts of town, and that's what it was all about. It's all what he wanted. Was very, very important to him, because he saw how people were treated, and this is like pretty, like a lot of arts and crafts types homes, that type of style. Just beautiful homes. That's a pretty one. It was actually a friend's house. Her dad built that home. She's very, very proud of it, as she should be. But it's just a beautiful, it's part of the reason I came down through here, because it's just, I knew this is one of the really pretty areas where it had like the factory workers' homes, but like all these homes, they were built specifically for the workers, by the workers, and this is an example of what Hershey Town is like. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous town. Like I said, a little bit different of a way of doing things on these historical markers, but this is part of what his legacy is this town. And so we're going to turn right here on Valley Road, because I want to try to go down and go past where Herco is, the Hershey Entertainment and Resorts, right across from the park, Chocolate World and all that, and just go by that, show you a little bit of that, probably throw some pictures up of that as well. But yeah, it just goes on and on. All the streets are like this, and they just have these beautiful homes that, you know, this is where the Hershey factory workers lived, and you know, they lived well. So we are going to pause here, and then when we get over to Herco, we'll show you that and the park, because that was another major part of his legacy was Hershey Park, which was originally built not for the general public, but was built for the factory workers to have a place that they could go and relax and enjoy life. Thanks, everybody. So here's just a couple pictures of Hotel Hershey. The inside, also the Hershey Arena, I couldn't come up with the name at the time, and the Hershey Gardens. These are some really important places, and a couple other pictures that I took while I was in Hershey. So I just wanted you guys to see those facilities as well, a little more up close. Just so you can see the park there. It's one of the roller coasters. This is the bridge. I used to go underneath this all the time, and then they closed this off to regular traffic, and we no longer really pass through here, but very, very neat. I haven't been back through here. That's the Comet there, the white coaster. I haven't been Super Duper Looper, I believe. This is different. They changed this. I haven't been back through here for like 15, 20 years. I'm assuming the Herco building's still standing, because I think it was a pretty historic building. I'll have to look up and see what that was originally used for. There's a factory over there. We used to call it the 515 building, the recycling center. And I used to deliver there. I used to love talking with those guys because they were really, really cool guys. Yeah, this is really, seems a lot different. I know this light wasn't here before, so I don't know if they changed where the road actually was. actually somewhat confused. I'm assuming this actually, yeah, fart, here it is. They did change it. Because this is the way back to Chocolate World. I should have probably turned back there. Because we were heading towards the new there's the entrance to Chocolate World right there. This is where the road used to go through. And this is the Herco, which is a Hershey Entertainment Resorts. Ah, fart, you can't go back there anymore. Okay, so I am gonna have to go here and then turn around. Sorry about all that. I'm not trying to drive vicariously, but yeah, it is always, I always enjoyed going in there. It was just a really pretty building, beautiful woodwork. I think some pretty nice brass in there, accents. Yeah, I had been back through there forever. They did change the way the road patterns are. You used to be allowed to go, that's the road here to the right. That's the road you used to go down through, because that's Chocolate World right over there. And you can't do that anymore. So that's how we used to come up through, because you go right along the that's Chocolate World there, the entrance to Chocolate World, and it's, I believe that's one of the ways to get into the park as well. But yeah, apparently they put in some new coasters, because that's new. I think it's new. Like I said, I haven't been through here for a while, so I know they didn't have one there before. So I got a little confused. This is the original road, but yeah, that's all new to me where that went through, because I thought it didn't seem right, but yeah. So we're gonna go by the new stadium, or the new is where they have like the concerts and stuff like that, and the old gymnasium concert hall. That's where Wilt Chamberlain scored his 100 points. At some point I want to do the historic marker for that, but I think they physically have that on the actual building, because you don't have access to it along the road. So I'm gonna have to do a picture of that, because I'm not paying the $500 for parking, and then whatever you gotta pay to get into that area to be able to do the historic marker in person. It's not gonna happen. So, but there is a historic marker there. I believe it's probably on the old building. That was where I saw my first concert ever. I went with my friends, I believe Jason and Adam, to go see DC Talk. It's a Christian band. Really enjoyed them. But that's down there. You can see it. It has a rounded roof. That's where Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points. And up on top of the hill here, that's Hotel Hershey. That's the building that we saw in the distance. That is an ornate building. Just a beautiful building. I think it has very much like the Greek revival, Romanesque type architecture, and much like the Hershey Theater. Has that German revival, German Greek revival. But yeah, actually that's something else. The Hotel Hershey is that building. Sorry, I get those confused. Because I'm special. I believe the Hershey Gardens are up there as well. That's something, if you come to Hershey, is well worth coming to see. My friend Kurt Lear, who has an Instagram, is a phenomenal photographer. He does a lot of photography there of the different flowers, and it's extraordinary. I'm sorry I missed like part of the park there, but I got excited by my mess up. But there's like a lightning racer is one of the roller coasters. Pretty neat place. So yeah, that is Hershey, and we will be back here some more because the Hershey corporate offices are up on the hill, along with the police academy. They also have the Pennsylvania State Police Museum up there as well, which is a pretty neat place to check out. But yeah, there's a lot of history here in Hershey. Very cool town, a lot more to see, a lot of legacy that Hershey has left behind. And the Red Robin, great place to eat, delicious burgers. My friend, his wife and his son love to go there. They always talk about going there to Red Robin to get some of those good burgers. So, all right, cool. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you all about town on the next journey. Thanks, everybody.